We turn now to Capitol Hill, where, to put it bluntly, things are a hot mess. Congress leaves for winter break this Friday and won't return until January 9th, just 10 days before the first of two deadlines to fund the government, causing major concerns for yet another potential shutdown. The battle over solidifying spending is also affecting our international policy, as Senate Republicans voted unanimously earlier this week to block proposed funding to help Ukraine and Israel in their respective wars. It's a move that the Biden administration says could, quote, literally kneecap Ukraine and damage our national security in the process. Meanwhile, Republican lawmakers are heading towards the exits. Former Speaker Kevin McCarthy, the first ever House Speaker to be ousted in the middle of a congressional term, announcing he's leaving Congress at the end of this year. The latest in a line of nearly 36 members to announce that they're not going to run for re-election. This comes on the heels of the historic expulsion of Republican Congressman George Santos, narrowing the already razor-thin House Republican majority. And while I can list all of this Congress's many failings at the hands of the GOP, the usually very conservative Texas Congressman Chip Roy sums it up best by saying the quiet part out loud.
One thing. I want my Republican colleagues to give me one thing, one, that I can go campaign on and say we did. One. Anybody sitting in the complex, if you want to come down to the floor and come explain to me one material, meaningful, significant thing the Republican majority has done.
Joining me now, NBC News correspondent Julie Sirkin. Julie, good morning. Thanks for being here. A chaotic week on Capitol Hill. How is the White House reacting to lawmakers leaving town without passing this crucial aid package for Israel and Ukraine? And any word about a backup plan?
Well, Katie, it's such a good question. Remember, a couple of weeks ago, even, I had reported along with my colleagues, according to sources, that if they don't pass aid to Ukraine and Israel by the end of this year, it'll be that much harder to get that done in an election year, in the new year, because of Speaker Johnson's fragile Republican majority and because so many of those hardline conservatives don't feel a need to continue funding Ukraine. But what's really the centerpiece issue here is the problem at the border, the migrant crisis, with record high numbers continuing to spike nearly every other day, just this week hitting yet another record on Tuesday. And this is an issue that Republicans especially want to solve, but the White House and President Biden also making it clear that they want a deal on this. I talked to Senator Lindsey Graham just this week, for example, one of the top Republicans, one of the fiercest supporters of aid to Ukraine. He told me that now he believes the issue at the border actually overshadows the need to fund Ukraine. That's certainly an issue that could cause alarm bells ringing in the president's ears, and also Senate and House leadership who do want to fund the war-torn country. Here's the thing. They have just 1 week before they leave for the Christmas break to get all of these pieces done. Republicans, I'm told, have presented another offer to their Senate Democratic negotiating counterparts here. It's not clear if that offer was well received because Republicans do want to go farther on the border than Democrats and immigration advocates are willing to accept, Katie.
And joining me now is Congresswoman Deborah Ross, the vice-ranking member of the House Judiciary Committee and a member of the House Ethics Committee. Congresswoman, thank you so much for joining us. As always, President Biden is actually indicating that he might be willing to reach some sort of compromise in the wake of that failed legislation to fund aid to Ukraine and Israel. But do you think there's any window of possibility that anything can get done before Congress takes a break for the holidays?
Well, good morning, Katie, and hope springs eternal. You know, President Biden has been able to pull the rabbit out of the hat every single time. We've come back from the brink of a government shutdown twice. We've been able to raise the debt limit. Now, these are basic functions of government, but the Biden team, particularly on the debt limit, was in the middle of negotiations. So I am very hopeful that they'll be able to get the Senate to send us a good package that deals with Ukraine, Israel, humanitarian aid, and a reasonable way to stem the problems at the border.
House Speaker Mike Johnson planning to hold a vote next week, formally authorizing Republicans' impeachment inquiry against President Joe Biden. Mike Johnson, though, was quick to note that this isn't a vote to actually impeach Joe Biden, but to vote to continue the investigations into him. But these investigations, Congresswoman, they've proven to bear no fruit, no evidence of any crime or any proof of malfeasance. So how do you expect this vote to play out next week?
Well, I'm hopeful that it will fail. And so many of these Republican votes have been failing. I'm hoping that it will fail because even members of the Republican conference know that impeachment is just not there for Joe Biden. There have been investigations. The Republicans' own witnesses have said that there's no there. And so he is doing this to appeal to his extreme base again and simply ignoring the evidence and ignoring the pressing needs around the world and for the American people.
In an interview with CBS, former Speaker Kevin McCarthy endorsing Donald Trump and even saying he'd be willing to serve in a Trump cabinet, quote, in the right position. I mean, you know, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. Congresswoman, what does it say that Kevin McCarthy couldn't keep his speakership simply because he couldn't get the people to rally behind him, and yet he's still paying allegiance to Donald Trump?
Well, what it says is that Kevin McCarthy doesn't know how to be his own man. And he is spending all of this time appeasing the radical right, MAGA Republicans, and now appeasing a failed president. And he needs to figure out who he is and do something that is both positive for himself and for the American people.
If Congress cannot fund the government next month, Speaker Mike Johnson has reportedly proposed punting on it for a full year with yet another stopgap bill. I don't think that's obviously an acceptable option. And, you know, Congresswoman, do you think this is also indicative of somebody who just doesn't have experience? I mean, Mike Johnson having no experience going into the speakership.
I think it's indicative of the failure of the Republicans in the House to lead and put the people of this country over their political infighting. They have been the chaos caucus. They cannot pass anything without Democratic votes. And right now, the vast majority of the House just wants to get our job done. We want to make sure that Vladimir Putin cannot overrun Ukraine this winter. We want to make sure that we take care of our people at home. We want to make sure that the FAA gets its reauthorization and that our military gets the help that it needs. We want to take care of people who are relying on government benefits to get through the winter. And he's simply bowing to the chaos caucus and punting things down the road.
Do you think Americans, though, are realizing that the government machine is screeching to a halt, not because of the Democrats, but because the Republicans are doing exactly as you've explained, that they've only wreaking chaos and they're only doing it to self-serve?
I believe that the American public is sick of this Republican caucus. George Santos, these brinks of government shutdown, and nothing is getting done for them. They elected us to be their voice in Washington and to look out for them. Now, the Democrats are doing it, and I believe that there's a good number of Republicans who are doing it. But this chaos we cannot be held hostage to the right-wing extremists, and Mike Johnson is just part of that.
Congresswoman Deborah Ross, thanks as always for joining us. I appreciate you.
It's my pleasure.